What's up? What's up? Another day leveled up. It's your boy Salem back with another one for you. Yo, I just want to say thank you first of all to everybody who's been subscribing to me, rocking with me from the jump. Just hit 1,000 subs not too long ago, so I just want to say thank you. Immensely grateful for everybody who's been commenting and just enjoying this journey with me and helping everybody just level up. It's an ongoing thing. I just want to say thank you, and I want to get into a great topic I've been thinking about lately, especially in times of need and downtime right now when everything's closing and people are having nothing to do but to just think of something to do, something to better themselves. And I happened to start reading this book called Mastery from Robert Greene. Dude is a genius. He wrote the 48 Laws of Power, a lot of other books, Art of Seduction, Laws of Human Nature, I think is what it's called. But just started it, but it's compelled me to want to talk about it already. And the ultimate power. And a lot of people try to figure out like what is the most ultimate power I could like strive for and make a difference in this life, set me above the just the general workforce. The ultimate power is mastery. Everybody holds their own fortune in their own hands, like a sculptor with the clay, and we can fashion it into any figure that we'd like. But the skill to mold the material takes time of cultivation, and a lot of people don't want to go down that road. A lot of people want to take the easy path. He calls it in the book like the path of El Dorado of the mind, thinking that there's like a get rich quick type way. But I feel like the sooner people realize that it takes time and effort to become a master at something, they will stop just messing around and get started on the path to mastery. Because the longer you just stall getting better at something, the longer you're not living up to your capability. You're not living up to your fullest potential, and the longer you're going, not being the person you know you could become, because you're just want the easy route. You want the secret. That book, I've read that book. If you guys read that book, The Secret, it's nothing. It's the biggest letdown. It tells you everything you want to hear, but no way in how to actually do it, or practical terms and being real about things. There is no secret. You got to become a master and put the time and effort in to becoming a master at what it is you desire to do. In the beginning, we're pretty much outsiders to it all. Like, we're born on this earth, we don't even know how to speak. We're outsiders just trying to learn anything. And the same goes into a new job, playing an instrument, starting a new relationship, trying to figure out like your boss and the relationships in the workplace. You're all starting from square one, and you have to be willing to endure being a novice at things, for one. Same thing with YouTube. I started off with nothing. Everybody starts off at the same point. I didn't just start off being able to generate views or having a certain amount of subscribers. It takes time, but you have to have the willingness to do it. And realizing how much work is ahead, then you start to just keep going. You gain more clarity, and the more you practice, you start to learn the rules of things, and you become more fluent. You get to figure out how things work. But as you remain faithful in learning, you become connected to like the instruments or the job or the relationships that you want to build up, and those actions that were where you were once a novice, you are now becoming. You're going down the path of mastery, and which is great. What happens when you continue to practice? It's like ideas like come and find you, and they almost come out of thin air, and they come to the person who's the most capable of fleshing those ideas out. I read this book called The Big Mind, and the author talks about how ideas, she sees the ideas almost as spirits, and they come to people who are at work and ready. If the spirit sees that you are someone capable and you've been staying ready, so you never have to get ready, it'll then bless you with those ideas. But if you don't act on them, then those ideas will move on to someone else who's capable of fleshing them out. And that's why some people say, oh, that was my idea. Someone stole my idea and they ran with it, but they never spoke to that person. And it was just like, you took too long. The spirit and the idea decided to move on so it could finally get fleshed out, but you took forever to try to flesh that out, which is a cool way to always never take too much time and thinking things over. Just stick with it. You got to just start now. There's no future. There's only the now. You just got to start with now. And you begin to learn the rules so well at a point that you begin to be able to bend them and break the rules and become a creative. That's what a lot of musicians do, artists. They become so great at something, and they realize where they could then start going off the beaten path. There's the famous jazz musician Miles Davis. I studied why he was actually so big and why he made such a impact in the world of jazz. And what it was is that he learned jazz, and there's a structure of jazz, but at a point he decided to become like a free-flowing jazz musician. So he would just be like freestyling, like a free form of jazz, but he would always come back to the start. They call it bringing it home. He would just get on a tangent or whatever on his trumpet, and then always bring it back home, and that would blow people's mind. They're like, yo, like, it was just like thrilling. It's a ride that people were on that they didn't know where it was going to stop or where they were going to end up. But you can only get to that point by practicing enough to be able just to be free with it. And other artists that I talk about it all the time, FKJ, another guy, Tom Mitch. They're all great musicians, and they're relentless with their practice. They play multiple instruments, and they're so creative, and people think those people are just blessed and or just born just great creatives, but they don't see all the years it took to learn the guitar, the bass, the saxophone. This guy sings, plays piano. It's like insane, but you have to realize he took time to become a great at all of those things simultaneously. He just didn't know it all. But there's a process. There's a process to becoming a master, and it all starts with being an apprentice. The apprenticeship, you start to work under someone that you aspire to be. Guys like Michelangelo and a lot of famous painters back in the day, and architects, they would be an apprentice to. They would go to trade schools and literally work under people and just be an outsider, just watch and just absorb it all from the outside perspective. And then they became creative actives. They started to immerse themselves into the trade and what they love to do, the whole aspect. They just immerse themselves and they began to get their hands dirty. They became at a point where they're able to just practice on their own. Bill Gates, he became so great at computers because at a time when computers weren't so prevalent, he happened to be in a fortunate enough family that he was able just to be around in a computer lab that his family had, I believe, and he was able just to figure out how to code and do all these things. But it took him time just immersing himself into those situations, and you start to see the inner workings of the machine, and then only then can you start to be creative, because you start to see all the inner workings, and then you not soon, but eventually become a master, and you see the complete picture of the things that you start on. Artists and musicians, people who are just highly skilled at what they would do, they could start something and always, like I said, bring it home. They could free flow it, not have no intention, but figure this thing out because they know the inner workings. Only then could they be creative because they've immersed themselves, they've learned how to become fluent. It's like looking at the keys on the piano. It almost seems foreign to anybody who's never played piano, but if you practice enough, you will know what notes go with each other. You'll be able to just flow with it. Same with the guitar, same with singing, same with talking. It's all the same steps you have to take. And the world praises creativity, but you can't become a creative unless you are a master at something first. You can't have a style of playing the guitar or singing or writing or whatever if you're not even skilled at it. You can't have a style if you aren't first properly trained on it. And that's why some people spend their money to get professionally trained, but a lot of people stay in that type of mentality of like they're classically trained, but they don't push themselves to the edge where they could actually just be creatives. They got to a point of kind of a master, but they're not a creative. They just learned how to master something. And I feel like people become trapped with the limitations of their consciousness of things, and people, they lack consciousness in what they really love to do sometimes, and that's hinders their ability to have effect in the world. So seeking shortcuts through drugs and get rich quick schemes. Back in the days, it was like alchemy, turning lead into gold. Everybody's always been on a search of trying to shortcut becoming a master and excelling and making a difference in the world. But there's no shortcut. You have to literally put in the work. A lot of people will just chuck it up to genius, or this wasn't in their deck of cards. They weren't blessed in the right situation or the right environment, so they just chuck it up and don't even try. But if you really want to make a difference in this world, you got to become a master at something, and you might as well start now. Come out of your quarantine whenever, no matter what time you see this video. Put the time in to become greatly skilled at what you love to do. And even if you're starting from square one, do not let it discourage you in getting to where you want to go. You have to just be resilient. You got to be persistent. What else will you be doing? What else would you really be doing? Like, you are here to be the best you could be. You're not here just to have an easy life and get to the grave safely. Like, I think that's so funny. Some people try to live so safe that they like live a safe life and like they were able to die safely. It's like live just on your edge, and as you get on that edge, you'll be able to bridge the gap every time you want to go somewhere. It's like you should always be inching and being a little bit uncomfortable into in anywhere you want to go, and you will be surprised. You will surprise yourself. Like, I'm surprised right now. I'm just like so pumped. This year has been crazy because I've started the process about 6 months ago of just becoming, how would I say, just the best self I could be. I've started the process of leveling up. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't even know I wanted to start a YouTube channel, but I just started a process of always trying to become better and stretching myself to the limits. I started to step up in my job, started to take on more ownership, started to make a lot more decisions, start to literally just take my life in my own hands, not be a victim, and hold my own fortune in my own hands, realize that I could create what I want to create and be the sculptor of this clay that God has given me. And we could all do the same. You guys could do the same. And I think I just want to wrap it up with that. But if any of this resonated with you guys, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell to be notified when I drop more content. And as always, just know a belief may be comforting, but only through true experience could it be liberating. Grant yourself permission to level up. Until next time, it's your boy Salem. I'm out.